Good night to everyone. Good night to everyone. This is Parent Chats with Pearl. I am Pearl Ann Bartlett, the founder and managing director of Pearl's Dance Academy. And I'm super happy to have you with me this evening and with my special guest, my special PDA mom, Tweann Layne. She's going to be joining us any minute now, but I really wanted to tell you guys how thankful I am that you are watching this chat that we are going to have. Pearls Dance Academy is all about helping not just our students, but our parents to grow even through this time of COVID-19 and past this time as well. So we do a lot for our students, but we also want to do stuff for our parents as well, because parents are people too, even if they're not dancing. And Parent Chats with Pearl is designed to just create conversation with other PDA moms or dads and just talk about certain topics that moms, dads, parents face during this COVID-19 period, whether it be homeschooling, whether it be working from home, whatever. We have some awesome topics outlined for you. And yeah, tonight is all about the food dilemma. And like I said, we're going to be chatting with Tweann Layne. She's going to be sharing all about her experiences with just navigating how to make sure everyone is provided for in terms of meals in her household. So I'm not going to tell her story for her. She's definitely going to do an awesome job at that. But I want to thank you for being with us and watching this. I hope that it encourages you in some way or form, because that's what this is about, helping you and giving you a space where you can get some tips from other parents. And you might realize I'm not in this by myself at all. Yeah. And so without further ado, I am going to invite Tweann Layne to just share in the chat with me as the PDA mom on the food dilemma.
Good night. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So Tweann, welcome to Parent Chats with Pearl. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. I am good. I am cool. I am excited for what you're going to tell us all about the food dilemma. So, what I want is for you to tell us about yourself. Tell us about how many children you have, your capacity as a mom, anything you want everybody to know about you that may help them relate to you a little better.
Okay. So as Pearl said, my name is Twuanique Layne. I'm a mom of three. My son, he is 15. I have a 12-year-old daughter. And then I have Twuanique, who dances with Pearl's Dance Academy. And she's been dancing with Pearls from the time she was either 5 or 6. So before Pearls, she actually danced at another school before. And she loved dancing so much that when there was, I think there was a fire or something at that school, we transitioned into Pearls Dance Academy. And ever since then, we call PDA home. And it's been a joy so far being here. I'm married. I work in a financial institution. Um, I have activities at church. I lead worship at my church. I am an entrepreneur. I have many hats, basically. So I am what you would call a busy mom. But at the end of the day, I still have mom duties to do and wife duties to do, making sure that everyone eats as Pearl brought up the meal dilemma in the midst of a pandemic. So that's Tweann in a nutshell.
Tweann in a nutshell. Sounds like a lot. Sounds like a lot to me. And I guess from looking on, somebody may go like, for real? She got all that going on. I would never have known, because you carry it so calmly and so well that people may not even look on and go like, really? All of that? All of that, Tweann. So hats off to you for making it look like it's a smooth journey. But I know you tell us that it's not a smooth journey at all.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to literally pull out my hair, especially when it comes to feeding Twuanique. So it's very interesting. I actually came across this video that my husband shared with me, and I thought it would be fitting to start our conversation tonight. So if you can go ahead and just play that video,
For
maybe
sure.
some people can relate in terms of finding a simple way to feed your family.
All right, let's watch that video right now.
Okay, y'all, so I'm gonna just put these sausage links right in the toaster. I've got about 6 of them, and then we're gonna move on to the bacon weave. And I'm telling y'all, this is just the easiest way to make your breakfast in the morning. You just put everything in the same toaster and you pop it down and it's ready to go. We're gonna add our toast, gotta have some toast, and then we're gonna move on to making an egg.
How the hell are you gonna do the egg? How you gonna put the egg in the toaster?
Putting an egg in a toaster? Yes, so just trust me, this is literally the best part. We're just gonna whisk it up.
Apparently, this is how you can feed your kids very quick. I gotta see this, because when I had some kids, you best believe I'm gonna be a microwave dad. Just call me microwave dad. I gotta see how she gonna put these eggs in the toaster.
Right here. We just got some tin foil. We folded it up on the bottom so that it won't leak. We're gonna give those eggs one more good whisk. And then you literally just pour your eggs in our little tin foil pocket. No pan, no oil, like no spatula, nothing. So we have like no dishes to do. And I'm gonna just put this in the toaster with everything else.
Well, you can put aluminum in the toaster?
Way ever to cook.
I don't know anything anymore, apparently. Because I thought you couldn't put aluminum in the toaster, but hey.
Down there, can you see that? Yes. And then 7, you really just want it on the highest temperature.
Put it on the highest temperature, okay.
And then I'm literally gonna pop it down, go make some coffee. You can shower, do whatever you need to do, and then come back and you'll have the best breakfast.
Now the thing about her, she kind of looks like she knows what she's doing. So I'm just gonna listen.
How is this gonna work?
I'm not gonna say she's wrong, but I'm still having my doubts
I'm
here.
just gonna watch it start to cook in there. You can see it's already starting to heat up.
I'm curious to see how these eggs are gonna look.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it's literally almost done. Can you smell it?
I can kind of smell it. I smell that
So
bacon.
excited for this bacon and the toast. Oh, oh my goodness.
I want to see the eggs. Okay, I already know how toast look. Toast is toast.
Yes, please. Thank you. So we'll pop
Let it out there. You need to put a little bit of butter on that though, but it's all good. Wow, the sausages got finished and the bacon. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. Doesn't that look amazing? It's like crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. That's gonna be so good. And then our sausage links. Like,
Wow.
they're perfect. They're literally perfect. And then we'll get the egg.
Let's see the eggs. This is the grand finale right here. The egg.
Attack ever. This is the part that I'm really
Probably still some yolk on it.
right open. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Okay. Wow.
Literally, look. It's perfect. This is gonna be so good. And just, put it on the plate and you're ready to go.
What?
I'm in disbelief. I gotta try this right now. All right, you guys, I'm about to go make some breakfast. I love y'all.
So I thought that was so awesome because simplicity is definitely what you need in times like these. And like last year, for example, when the pandemic first started, I I found it stressful, honestly. But this time around, it was a lot better for me as it related to preparing meals. Because when we first went on lockdown, I felt as though I wasn't prepared.
Mm, understood. So what's a typical breakfast meal for you? A go-to meal for breakfast, lunch, and if you do dinner for your family.
So the problem with this is that everyone in my family has different tastes. So it's like there's no one breakfast meal.
Mm-hmm.
So like Twuanique, she doesn't eat anything processed. So she doesn't eat nuggets. She doesn't eat hot dogs, burgers, anything in a can. So I can't do anything simple like that for her. My second daughter, she would eat eggs. Nobody else in the house eats eggs except myself and my second daughter. And my husband, he would typically probably not really eat breakfast. He would drink coffee. And then my son, he would use the processed things like nuggets. So it's a whole variety, and it's like everybody needs something different.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all at different stages in their life. So my son, he's big enough to do his own breakfast. My
Right.
second daughter, she's now getting into to doing things in the kitchen as well. But for Twani, I just have to be imaginative and try to find ways to feed her basically. And when I was thinking about this, I was just wondering like, what is this child eat?
So what have you been finding that she eats like today in for an example? What about today?
Right. So today I actually had Chinese. So that was simple for me. So
Okay.
she would eat like pasta, rice, fruits, some fruits, chicken. Everything is chicken. So every meal is a different way of doing chicken, basically.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I got you. So basically, you have a balancing act of different personalities, different like food styles, food tastes, I should say. And you then have to be able to manage that and still do what you need to do for work, and what you need to do for Tweann. So it's really a balancing act when it's all said and done.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So like
So
scheduling is really key when it
okay,
comes to because basically when I go to work, so I'm working from home now, I can't be stopping for somebody to say I need something to eat. So I
yeah.
need to make sure that I'm prepared before I start work.
Mhm. So what I'm hearing then is all about management because at the end of the day, we got to be able to manage yes the resources we have, but also the time that we have as well. So how have you navigated that management aspect in terms of like you said, like you have work, right? And like if it was a normal situation, they'll be at school and you won't have to think about the canteen or school meals like they got everything covered. But now that you're home, how do you manage that boundary of them knowing where to find food, what to do, and you still have work, your husband still has work. Like how do you manage with that?
So for me, it's a matter of preparation. So once I purchase my meat, I make sure that I clean and season everything, and then I literally package it out in the freezer in terms of this is the quantity that I'm going to cook this time. So it's already pre-packaged, and I just need to pull it when I'm ready to prepare the meals on the morning.
Okay, so food
All
prep
of that,
is the key.
yeah.
Food
And then all
prep.
of that needs to be done before work starts. And then I would say, this is for this person, this is for this person. And you know that you can't eat this because that's what Twani, because she eats nothing else. So and then everybody understands that. So
Okay,
that's how it
okay.
works.
So management for you in the food department looks like food prep.
Mhm. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. And let me get real like nitty gritty then with the food prep. Like, you have it like in different containers, is in different parts of the fridge. Like, how do you like break it down to that level in terms of yes, you food prep. Yes, you say this is for Twanique, or this is for what's the names of your other children? Tell me.
Tiara and Kurtwan.
Okay, all right. So how do you manage? Yes, you say that you tell them this is for Twanique and whatnot, but do you get as far organized as labeling? Like she own little thing, or you just you in that detail?
No, not that detailed. I only have to separate what is hers really.
Okay,
Everybody else is fine. Yeah.
okay.
Um, so
So because you're home now, do you find that they want to eat more?
I actually no. Um, typically, before the pandemic, I would cook like 3 times or so a week, if so much. And my mom actually lives downstairs, so she would cook our Sunday meal. So
Okay,
things were pretty okay for me. But then my children don't eat a lot of things that she cooks other than the Sunday meal. So then I just need to make sure that, especially now that I can't just say, well, I'm going to buy Chinese or we are going to go to this place or whatever. I have to make sure that something is ready.
Yeah.
So for me, that was one of the things that I really had to think about, and things that my children probably wouldn't have eaten before I would have introduced it during the pandemic. So, for example, they may normally want bread, and they may be eating it with some type of meat, but now like I would have wraps in the freezer, so then they could take a wrap, and before they wouldn't use a wrap, but now they're taking the wrap and they're actually making wraps, different wraps with that. So chicken wrap. My son has even had like a wrap with nuggets and hot dogs in it and cheese, a whole set of things. So before he would have said, nah, he don't want no whole wheat wrap. But
Mm-hmm.
now actually doing that and enjoying it too.
Mm-hmm. So you found that since the pandemic, you guys had to shift in terms of some of the foods that they were accustomed to eating.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because
And
go ahead.
yeah, and the thing about it is, before, like my cupboard would not be so full, but now is like I have to make sure that something is there that I can just pick up easily and make. And then my second daughter, she started getting interested in cooking, so
Wow.
she said that, well, I don't feel like eating this, so
She
can I
cooked.
make something? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's big on the vegetables, and like even if I order pizza, she will want a veg pizza, for example. So
Okay.
now she told me, Mommy, I want to try something different. So she made like a chana curry with a pasta, a whole wheat pasta. So that was something that she did last week, and that was exciting for her. And Twanique was like, "Ah." But that's just the difference in the children, and many people will have different children, and they will everybody's child is not the same. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you have a one child, two children, three children, all your children will have different personalities, and you have to be able to understand that child and how to work with the child to make sure that they not only eat but stay healthy as well, because
Right.
it's very important to make sure that your child obviously doesn't just have fast food or just doesn't use like carbs, and but you need to try to be able to fit like things like fruits and vegetables into their diet. So like
Mm-hmm.
they have a lunch on the vegetable stage, but she's working with fruits. So then we work with
Okay. How would you chat with a parent who may say, I have four children or I have two, and the challenge with yes, making sure because they're both different and they may be allergic, some may be allergic to stuff. So it's not a case of they don't like it, it might just be that they're allergic. And but then the resources during this time might be limited for a lot of people in terms of their finances. Like
that.
ways would you tell a parent or encourage a parent, not tell them, but how would you encourage a parent that may have little funds to do stuff? Like, how can they be creative in um, serving the needs of those two or five different children, but with like a shoestring kind of pocket?
Okay. So the thing about it is there are many things out there that are um, reasonable. Pasta is definitely one, and there are all types of pastas that can be used in preparing meals. And then you don't only have chicken, for example, you can just get a small piece of chicken breast, for example, and that can serve a family if you mix it up and you put it in like what we would call a one pot meal. So rather
Mm-hmm.
than having meat as a side dish where everybody thinks that they can get a whole piece of chicken, you can
Mm-hmm.
actually take like, the breast of a chicken and cut that up and mix it right into the food so that they can that can serve them. And what I found, like the things like peas is definitely a way that you can introduce protein into a diet and still be able to have that balanced meal and still be on a budget for sure. So
Okay.
that
Okay.
is one way. But portion sizes also is something key, because what I find is when children eat, they end up with a lot of food left on their plate. I don't know if it's only me, but children eat and then you see half of what they've eaten still on the plate. One way you can make sure is either give them smaller sizes, portion
Mm-hmm.
sizes. Other way is when they eat, they leave the plate like that, wrap it up, put it in the fridge, and reuse it another time. Don't just discard it because
Right.
that is something that you may need for a later time. Especially here, like when the stores were closing early, and like normally we would say go to the shop and buy a pack of bread. You don't have
Yeah.
that option anymore. So you can't say, "Oh, I will get like a meat roll or something to eat." You can't do that now. So what
Mhm.
you have to make sure that it works.
Yeah, that's good. So basically, because one of the questions I had was about food wastage, and if you what you do to navigate that, because as a parent, you could prepare stuff, but then, like you said, you realize that they don't eat it. And in some cases, I know that like during the this second lockdown period, and I think it happened in the first one too, where you would go to the supermarket, you would have been standing up in these long lines perhaps. By the time you get inside, sometimes the things you wanted or the particular brand that you buy is not available. So you then go and make an alternative. And then you're not sure if your children can eat it, just those different dynamics. And somehow that leads somewhat into food wastage. And so my question would have been to you, like, how do you navigate that element of wasting food? But then you answered it and you said, if they don't eat all, you covering up that bad boy and putting it in the fridge because that gonna become a meal for later because they may come back and say, "Mommy, I'm hungry," or "Mommy, I want something to eat," and then that is there as opposed to throwing it away. So yeah, that definitely treats that question that I had about food wastage. Anything else, Tweann, has been on your heart or on your mind that you would want to encourage a parent about as it relates to the dilemma they may have regarding food and making sure that everybody is eating and eating healthy?
Okay. So basically, I would say that you just need to make sure that you're prepared. Preparation is key. Um, you also need to make sure you understand what it is that your child needs. Because the thing about it is, what I found is they will be eating all the time before, and they will just go and pick up something and say, "Well, I want this." But now that they're home, I find like they will go longer without eating, and
Okay,
that was strange to me. Like my daughter actually lost a lot of weight during this second lockdown, I would
that
say.
comes. Okay.
And to me, that's not such a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. Like
Great.
she stopped using like sugary drinks, for example. She would drink a lot of water, and I think that that is key. So like water is something that you could make sure is introduced into your children's diet, because a lot of times children would just drink when they're eating, and most of the time that drink would be some type of soft drink beverage, some juice that is filled with a lot of sugar. But water became Twanique's go-to, and I think that that's pretty good. Sometimes children don't like just drinking water that you might put in a cup, and if you can get a bottle of water, then they also appreciate that. And
Mhm.
if you just freeze it or put some type of fruit in it as well, then that would also help. Like my second daughter, she would put lemon in her water, for
Right.
example. So
Okay.
it gives it a flavor, so it just
Mhm.
isn't plain water.
Water. Yeah. So I'm hearing too that just preparation, like you said, preparation is definitely one of the keys to not finding yourself in the food dilemma, right? So making sure that you think ahead of what you would need for the week and prepping that, putting that one side and saying so that your week and your day, that's one less thing that you have to be thinking about and actually stressing about and trying to do, but you've already prepared and put that in place already.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's definitely one of the things that I would want to make sure that everybody, all the parents that are listening, they hear that we could definitely get better at preparing. So if there are any questions that those that are watching may have, any questions for Twuanique, from one parent to another, this is definitely your time to do that, to answer questions or to give your comments about anything that you would have heard so far. Do you have like a question from one parent to another regarding this food situation, and just how do you manage with probably limited resources, or just how do you manage with like different taste buds, etc.? What questions do you guys have for Twee? And she's ready to answer any question that you may have right now. So take it away. If you have any questions, we'll see them come in and we'll be able to get Tweann to share her thoughts on that. I like it when parents are able to just share what they are doing as well. I mean, yeah, you can talk on the phone to your friend and tell her, or, as conversation comes up, it happens. But this definitely is a platform where parents can hear from other parents as into what they're doing, share some tips perhaps. And like that video that we showed at the beginning, find different ways to make your work lighter and easier. That is definitely what I heard coming out from Tweann. Even before she started to say anything, by that video alone, it told me that Tweann looks for smart, effective ways to make work lighter for her and make it still fun for everybody else. So I don't see any questions coming in just as yet, but I know there are so many parents that have questions about how do you regarding this food situation, and knowing that sometimes resources are limited, sometimes you are busy, sometimes allergies might be a thing. Like any questions you guys have whatsoever, this is your time, this is your space to ask such questions. All right, we are going to move now to another question I have for Tweann. How do you think gratitude plays a part in your whole ability to manage the food dilemma? How is gratitude important to you, and how does it help you to navigate this time of maybe sometimes not having, or maybe sometimes having to give to another family member? Like, how is gratitude important to you? That's the question.
So constantly grateful for sure, because many persons may have lost their jobs during this time. And for me, that wasn't a reality. Like my husband, he wasn't as productive as he usually is because of the pandemic. But we were blessed that I was still able to have my job and be able to find ways to provide for my family in terms of food, etc. And for me, being grateful is definitely top on the board, because without God and all the blessings that He's bestowed to me, I definitely not be able to do what I do today. For me, it's really a lesson learned, because a lot of times you can be, what's the word? You can feel as though like you take things for granted. So you take things for granted from the perspective that it's always going to be there, but you don't know what is going to come around the corner and stop you from having the resources that you are usually accustomed to. And just reflecting on one of the lessons that I learned through this is, all the time the children might come and say they want this particular thing, but no, the thing is not available. And they have to understand that this is what you have. And if you don't take what you have, it means that you may not get to eat. And before, I would have been like, okay, so I have to be able to find a way to get something so that this person can eat. Because like the children, people can say that I ain't feeding my children. And I have a sister-in-law that will tell me that I don't feed my child. So then somebody may come for me. But no, it's like the same very thing that you said that you don't eat, you're eating, right? So you have to be grateful. So being grateful was not just me being grateful now. It was the children being grateful as well, because they understand this is what we're going through. And I have to be able to not take what I had before for granted, but be contented with what I have now.
That's good. That's good. So it's also playing out in the children as well. We have a question here from Yolande Oliver. Hi, Yolande. She's asking, do you find that children were not tired at bedtime and had quite a lot of energy at night? That's our question during lockdown.
Definitely. Um, I don't know. It's like, but my second daughter, she's found a new routine. She actually goes to bed early, but is up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then my other two, they are up late and then don't want to get up in the morning. So I have like a bit of both to deal with. So Kurt was there with like persons, and then
No,
I would
what?
be up early. Yeah, I would be up early in the morning because the truth is, I guess because they're not as active as they usually would be to be able to
Yeah.
go outside and do this and that, they don't tire as much. So you just have to be able to find a way to manage. And if you have another parent in the home, that also helps if you have more than one child, because then we can play our part to assist both our children.
Okay. That's good. Thank you, Yolande. That was an excellent question that you gave us just now. If there are any other questions whatsoever, definitely this is your time to do so as we look to wrap up this wonderful conversation with Tweann uh, on the food dilemma. And yeah, how one question that's coming to my mind is in terms of like conserving like energy. This is just random. This just came to my mind in terms of like, okay, so I know when students are on vacation. I mean, this is not vacation, but when they're on vacation, I would hear a lot of parents complain about they're always opening my fridge. They always, opening my fridge. Really, that's what I used to hear a lot, right? Because they always want something from inside the fridge. Like, do you find that that is something that you've been challenged with, or know anybody that has that challenge, especially during this time where it's like they're constantly wanting more or wanting to eat, and your bill might go up because now you're home a lot more, so you're probably cooking more than you would have used to. You're opening the fridge more because you're home all the time. Like, how is that impacting that side of life for you?
I would say that the first lockdown, it was a reality because there was not that scheduled school going on. So at that
Mhm.
time, the children wanted to find other activities to do. They were watching TV, playing games. Yes, they would want something to eat, so they would be in and out of the fridge. Um, so you can only police it really, and get them to do what they're supposed to do as it relates to energy. But what I found this time around, because school is a lot more structured now,
Mhm.
there are actual hours that they have to be sitting in their class, and the same way they are in a physical classroom and they want to ask for an excuse in the classroom, they have to do that type of thing now. So the house is actually very quiet now, um, in this second lockdown, because everybody's in their own space doing their school activities. And so no one is getting it to go to the fridge because there's a lunch time and there's a break time, and the only time you're getting up is to at those times. I don't know
Okay.
if all the other parents are experiencing that as well now, because to me, this lockdown, this time
Yeah.
around, the schools were better prepared.
Yeah. I think people in general were a little bit more prepared this time around too, uh, as it relates to how we were dealing with the lockdown and everything. So I am definitely there with you on that one. All right, so we are just about ready to wrap up this lovely conversation we've been having with Tweann on the food dilemma. She's been sharing with us how she's been managing and dealing with, making sure her family is provided for in terms of meals and just navigating the differences regarding that and thinking about different creative ways with what you have to make sure that you provide for your family. And one of the things coming up from what she was sharing with us is that preparation is key. She's found that that is definitely one of the keys to making her work lighter and everybody around her brighter. Because once she's happy, once she's free and not like stressed with everything she has to do, then she's able to serve better to her family, and the environment is conducive positivity and everything. So I like that. I like that a lot. I do not see any further questions coming in, and that's definitely all right. Next week, we are going to be here again having a conversation with drum roll. We are going to be having a conversation next week for our parent chats, and we do not want you to miss it, simply because as we go on each week, there is tons and tons and tons of information that you can get from different parents and just be able to connect with all the parents within the community at Pearls Dance Academy. So next week, we're talking about the money juggle. The money juggle, that's what we're talking about. And you have to come on next week to be able to know who is chatting with us next week. I will not tell you who it is. That's a surprise, but it's a PDA mom. The money juggle. We talked last week about the work from home balance. This week we talked about the food dilemma. Next week we're talking about the money juggle and just how that particular parent is able to just manage what she has. All of this is about management. All of this is about management and how you're either able to manage your emotions, manage your food, manage your money, manage your household, like as a parent. Yeah, and tips and tricks that each person finds. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation next week. But I am happy about tonight because we were able to hear from Tweann. And Tweann, do you have any final words for persons that may be watching before we bring this conversation to a close?
I just want to thank you, Pearl, for inviting me on and encourage the parents to keep it simple when it comes to meals. The quicker, the easier, the more time you have to do a lot of other things. So you can keep it healthy, you can keep it simple, and you can just make sure that you're prepared as we saw before. So good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching. This has been Parent Chats with Pearl. Tonight we talked with Tweanne Layne on the food dilemma. We will see you next week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.